My name is Chloe Isaac. I'm a French Canadian. I live in Paris right now. I've been here for 4 years. I did synchronized swimming starting at the age of 7, and I retired in 2014. I was part of the Olympic team for Canada. I participated in 2012 London Olympics and did many championships and Pan Am Games. When I first thought of retirement, it was after 2013 World Championships. I had lots of injuries on my hip, on my shoulders, and I was really getting tired. And I wanted also to move on and start my studies. I had an operation on my hip, so that kind of finished my career. I never got back in the pool after that. One regret that I have is that I never got the chance to do my very last swim, where it's very emotional and you're surrounded by your teammates and your team staff. That's something I wish I could have had. But also I know that I retired at the good time. Continuing with my career would I think only led to maybe more injuries and maybe more disappointment. I'm glad I finished that at that time, but just I would have wished for a nicer end. I had lots of help from my doctor and physiotherapist. So I had lots of treatments and lots of help. But the truth is that at that time, my mental health was also not very stable. And I think that's also one reason why I had so many injuries at that time. Is just when your mental health is not there, your physical health it's kind of your body saying, maybe this has come to an end and maybe you need some time to rest. And it's kind of a trigger warning for your brain to actually notice that you need some time to rest. I had many meetings with the sports psychologist. But what I realized afterwards is that when you're in an environment, a poor performance environment, whatever you say to your team sports psychologist is always related to that environment. And in order to really get better, I realized that I needed to get out of that situation and tell my story and my pains to someone that was not related to sports. And I think it's very necessary to get help and just have another perspective from outside of that path. I think also they treat you as an athlete and not a complete person with maybe other interests or other objectives or goals in your life. Maybe like school and studies or personal growth is not their priority. Maybe it's just they want you, the athlete, only that side of you, the athlete, to perform. And it's healthy and necessary to see the athletes as a whole person, as with personal interests, desires and needs, and a will to expand like further and bigger than just their athletic career. I think it goes beyond that. It was quite hard. To be honest, I don't have many memories of that period. As I said before, my mental health was not quite stable at the time. And I think in a way, my brain shut down many memories in order just for me to move on. I felt alone, although I had my family and some friends with me. But since I was in the sport starting from the age of 7, everyone I knew, all of my friends, all of my checkpoints, everything I knew was related to that sport specifically. I was quite fearful to step outside of that zone, to meet new persons, to try new things. I realized that from a young age, I didn't have to make any decision. Like I didn't have to make any choice because it was just going. I knew that one season after another, I would just continue, and the timing of competitions and period of, I don't know, everything was just repetitive, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. And I just followed. And when I stepped outside the pool, I had to make decisions where who I and how I was going to make friends, in which school I wanted to go, which career I wanted to, in which career I wanted to be. And that was the very first time where I had to actually learn how to make decisions. I never imagined it would be so hard after sports. And I think I was not prepared. During sports, I always continued my studies, but just on the part-time, not very, I mean, I did well in school, but it was not my main focus. And that was one of the regrets that I had afterwards, was maybe I should have explored my options. Maybe I should have been interested in more things and paid a bit more attention into my studies, just to make sure that I could start my new career, decently and with a good momentum. Like, it's been 10 years for me and I'm still working on it. I think it's part of us also, and it's just, you have to learn how you can live with that part of yourself, with your past experiences, and how you take this and you bring it into your new life. I tried for so long to separate those things, and sports keep just coming back to me in some ways. And I realize now that this makes me a whole, like a whole person. And you can't really separate the two. It's just not possible. I never took the time to really be curious about my career, my afterwards career, and I just thought, like, I was liking interviews, and I liked that cooperation with journalists, and I thought that was interesting. I'm quite curious, so I thought maybe I just go into communication, because that's the only other profession I was getting in touch with while I was in my career. And I thought other athletes on my team were in that program, so I was like, well, maybe I'll just try that too, because at that time I was not equipped to make decisions for myself. And I realized quickly that was not what I wanted to do. I studied architecture and object design, and these projects take for sometimes a few years to get developed. And I'm too impatient for that. So I decided to go into graphic design. And I switched career progressively over the years. And that's a field of design that really suits me a lot better. I'm really glad that I made that change, but it was hard because I had a lot of imposter syndrome. I studied in architecture, and suddenly I was going into graphic design with no studies or no experience, and suddenly I just wanted to work in that field. So I had to make up for the time, and I did lots of work on my own on nights and weekends to learn a new profession. There's a part of me that obviously love being my own boss. That's one of the things I love the most about being freelance, and also being in having responsibility and being able to guide my clients through decisions. But also a part of me keeps reminding me that I'm also a freelancer, because I was in a team sport for very long. I couldn't make decisions on my own. I was being told what to do every single day of every minute of the day. And to me, being a freelancer is just getting back this freedom that I lacked for so many years that I didn't get to have. And once I learned and decided to make my own path, it fulfilled me so much being my own boss and being the leader and making and building the life that I really want. It's hard for me to imagine going into like an in-house position or company right now, because I'm really attached to that type of freedom. It doesn't mean that I don't work hard. On the contrary, freelancers sometimes work harder than in-house positions. It has loads of challenges for sure, but to me it's worth it. I do miss being in a team and working with people on a daily basis, but the truth is I meet so many different people now that I'm a freelancer. I have many clients. I have other colleagues that I can reach out to. So I'm never truly alone. So my goal for our work together with Athlete Soul was to create a new identity for the great occasion of Athlete Soul and Exalzat joining together, uniting forces to help athletes in bigger ways. And so that identity, the branding, was to really communicate the values of Athlete Souls and Exalzat. So the sense of community, the sense of authenticity, the sense of hard work and understanding. And we wanted to translate that into a logo and a brand strategy on a wider scale. And that's when we came up with the signature. That was our first intention, was for the logo to be quite unique and to represent every athlete's uniqueness and their personal path, their personal signature, what makes them unique and what makes them special. And we wanted to translate that into a logo. And we worked on many iterations, and we came up with this last version. I think that suits really well the purpose and the mission of Athlete Soul. I'm really glad I was part of this project, because it was, like I was saying before, it's bringing sports. It keeps coming back to me in good ways. And I didn't get the chance to, I think I would have needed more help when I stepped out of my career, and I'm really glad to be helping in my way, the ways that I know, how to make this organization bigger, and in order to help more athletes. Attention to detail is one, which is incredibly important in my work. If you, in synchronized swimming, if you're one count off or one angle or one finger off, it shows. And I like to think that I have that attention to detail and professionalism into in my design work also. It has taught me perseverance, that's for sure. Being a freelancer is not always easy. It takes a lot of faith that you're gonna make it through and it's gonna all work out in the end. But you have to put the work in, and that's something that sports has taught me. I think sports has taught me so many things that I can embrace the fear, and it's gonna make me go further than I even imagined. But you just have to be brave enough, or just to be pushed into the pool, I guess. It's pretty incredible how it has changed me over the years. Like being a kid very shy and being able to perform in the middle of the pool at the London Olympics, like I would never have thought that would be me. but I guess life goes like that, and we do things that we're not expected to do. I think I have fulfilled the goals that not all of them, but some of them, some goals that I've set for myself. After sports, getting into school, finishing my studies was definitely one of them. I think I've succeeded that. Also getting into a state of health and mental health was necessary at the time, and that was a huge goal for me, but it was also lots and lots of work. I had eating disorders at the end of my career, so that stayed with me for a while after finishing sports. But mental health is always fragile, I think, because growing up in a performance environment, that's something that I keep with me all the time. I think other athletes can relate to that, but when you've been raised to working for a specific goal and getting either a medal or a specific number or a specific timing, and when your goal is so rational and objective, is whether you're going to be on the podium or not, that doesn't really translate into life. Into work, you don't get any medals, or you rarely get prizes or accomplishments. You have to see the accomplishments you're making for yourself, and they're not as tangible. Performance state of mind, that's something that motivates me a lot, but can also be very tricky because you just sometimes don't know when to stop. It's hard to imagine that you'll be able to switch into another career that will make you as fulfilled, but it is possible. Like, we're not only doomed to do only one thing in our life. You can have many careers, you can do many things and succeed in many things. But I think the main idea is just to be prepared, learn, be curious, and just have fun all the way through it. Yeah.